Welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. How are you doing tonight, Supernatural Sleuth, man? I appreciate you being on.
Doing good, buddy. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Crazy weather here, though.
Oh, dude, it's been wild. Snow and ice everywhere you look.
For sure, man.
Uh,
And have you been hearing a lot about these drone sightings all over the United States?
I have that's really interesting. I've been trying to follow that on YouTube and across social media. That's really interesting. Uh,
Yeah. Some
I've,
people believe they may have a connection with the possible, like, UFOs and stuff, maybe.
yeah, I've said just my personal opinion. I've done a few TikTok videos about this. I feel like the drones probably belong to our government, or if not, they at least know who they belong to. But the more I have been looking into it, I kind of have been led to believe that they're the orbs. Are you familiar with the orbs that have been sighted too?
Yeah,
Maybe the drones are actually investigating these orbs because those things are pretty wild.
yeah. Them orbs are wild, man. Some people seen orbs coming out of water and stuff.
Right. Yeah, and I've seen some. I don't know. Project Fear, Dakota Layton. He went out. He just spent 3 days out there, and he done some work. And he had a lot of different video footage. Some of his own, and some he just got off YouTube. But like, if you watch these things, they move like in ways that defy the laws of physics as we know it. They're not man-made. Obviously, they're technology far more advanced than anything we could ever build. So, I feel like the if there's anything supernatural or paranormal going on, I feel like it's more with the orbs than the drones.
Yeah. I meant the drones have a connection with the aliens, not UFOs, what some people believe,
Right. Yeah. 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 I know what you're saying.
or with the Chinese government. Or,
Right. Yeah. I mean, we had what was it? The spy balloon there was a year or two ago. It flew across the United States, which I heard one guy on YouTube say that just caught the media's attention. He said there's always those things flying around, that one just people spotted it or whatever. So I don't know, dude. With everything going on, there ain't nothing that surprises me anymore, honestly.
yeah. It could be drones, like you said, trying to look for orbs or
Right.
aliens, or could just be spying on us.
That's true too. I mean, everything else does, our phones and so yeah, Trump says he's going to release information, I think, when he comes in office. So, maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll find out something.
Yeah, because wasn't there a president? There was one president that said that he seen a UFO or something.
Yeah, I'm familiar with what you're talking about. I can't remember who it was, but it's so wild. For years when everybody mentioned UFOs or UAPs, the government would just laugh it off. But now they're holding congressional hearings. You're having top military officials, fighter pilots coming in and testify before Congress of stuff they have seen. So, there's a lot of theories that go along with that, but I just find it really interesting that they're now actually talking about it.
Yeah. You've seen it, you've heard it on the radio and seen it on TV before, though. I mean, back in the '90s and stuff, you had unsolved mysteries. They
Right,
used to always cover
right,
UFO sightings and
right.
heck, even alien abductions too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of theories, and none of them can be confirmed about what are aliens, if aliens do exist, what are they, where they come from. There's a lot more people talking now that they come more out of the ocean as opposed to outer space, or maybe both. But there's just a lot of speculation we just don't really have the answers to.
Yes, as Jimmy Carter reported seeing an unidentified flying object in Georgia in 1969.
I was thinking Carter, maybe. I think I was thinking him or Ford, but I couldn't remember. But yeah, I knew there was one of them. So yeah, I mean, there's stuff out there, dude. I mean, there's just too much universe out there. I mean, and too many people. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these sightings can probably be debunked, but there's just too many for them not to be something, in my opinion.
Yeah, some of them were very credible.
Right. Yeah. I mean, especially when you got, these fighter pilots, and these military officials who kind of put their career on the line and their credibility to come forward before Congress and the whole world to testify that they have encountered these things. So, it gives you something to think about.
Definitely, man. Did you hear about they may have found out who DB Cooper was?
I did not hear that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think they're still looking at the parachute and stuff.
Oh, well, that's cool. Have they released any theories or just speculating?
Um, I think the parachute may have matched the one that they're testing right now.
Hmm.
Like there was another heist that this dude got arrested for.
Hmm. I know that's been, how long has that been? 50 years or longer? I'm not sure.
I think
That's,
it happened in the 70s.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's been one of the big mysteries throughout, since then. So yeah, that would be interesting if they can actually release. Which they also were supposed to open the JFK files and they didn't, which Trump again says he's going to do that this term. So I'm kind of curious what that says too, or what they will actually. They still may just release what they want, but I've always kind of been interested in that.
Maybe that's something you can do on TikTok is DB Cooper.
I'd never thought about that, but that's definitely something worth looking into because that's something you think with. Well, even then in the 70s, we have far greater technology now, but over the federal government, the FBI, CIA, DEA, all these federal agencies, typically you're able to solve crimes, but that one has been unfounded now for, nearly 5 decades. So that's pretty cool. We'll see what happens with that.
And they closed that case too back in, I can't remember, like 2017, 2018, something like that.
Oh, did I? I wasn't aware of that. Well, I guess when you least expect it, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy. I find some of them interesting, but one of the things that a rabbit hole I've went down, like when you're dealing with these drones and UFOs and UAPs, they talk a lot about, and I think this probably is true in some cases, where the government will throw out a lot of diversions, trying to get people's attention over here instead of looking over there. And so, maybe a DB Cooper type thing would maybe grabs people attentions away from the drones or orbs. And, I'm not saying that's the case, but with everything that's going on, you just can't help but wonder sometimes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was very that was a crazy case, the DB Cooper. So
Oh yeah, definitely. That's like I said, with so many federal agencies involved in that and state and local agencies, you would think they would have found something. But here we are 50 years later and still don't know. So
yeah, yeah, I think it could possibly be that guy that they suspect on it.
yeah, that's very possible. Hopefully, you will maybe find that out here pretty quick.
Definitely, man.
Um, but yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and TikTok, which is I have all the other social media accounts: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever. And I recently started a Facebook page. I haven't really done a lot with it, but seems like on my feed anyway, my For You page, every time I get on TikTok, it's something about the drone, some kind of government conspiracy cover up or something. So it's a crazy world we're living in, and you got all those fires out in Los Angeles right now in California. And dude, it's just, the eastern half of the U.S. is turning into ice and the western side is burning up. So it's just, I don't know. It's wild.
We're having some crazy weather, man.
Oh, definitely. But, there's a lot of speculation, even with those fires out in LA, that which there's always conspiracies. I'm not saying they are, but um, you have the whole P Diddy thing going on with all these alleged celebrities and famous people involved, and a lot of their homes got destroyed. So Yeah, I don't. You don't know what to believe honestly anymore. It's just the climate of today's just everything's just so far out there.
Yeah, definitely, man. Ooh, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now,
Well,
for
for
sure.
sure. For sure.
And have you got any new stories about sightings of UFOs, Bigfoot, or anything else?
Um, a lot of the stuff I've been getting recently has been probably more just like kind of well, it's kind of a mix of everything really. I've got uh, a lot of followers of mine who live out in New Jersey have sent me videos and pictures of the drones and the orbs they've captured. Um, some cryptid, always some Bigfoot and Dogman stories. But I've actually been reaching out to a few people, as I've probably talked to you before. Zach Hall, my buddy. He and I are getting ready to launch a mutual YouTube channel. Hopefully within the next month. I'm not sure exactly. It could not be right, but we've been reaching out to some people in different places about coming and investigating. I actually had a gentleman today email me. He owns it's an Airbnb. It's in Missouri, just across the western end of Kentucky. It's called the Brooks Estate. And this guy actually submitted some evidence to me back this past summer, and I done a couple of TikToks about it. And it's like crazy haunted. And he sent me another video last night. And I'll probably do a TikTok on it either tomorrow or the next day. But some crazy stuff, some security cameras picked up. But he actually invited us out today. He told me any weekend that we wanted to come out and investigate, we could come and stay for free. So there's definitely a few places Zach and I are hoping to hit up and get this YouTube channel off the ground, and especially if they do away with TikTok, which we're waiting to see. And so I hope there's some pretty big things coming up here in the next little bit.
Yeah. Is it like the older house?
Yeah, it is older. It's a really nice house. They actually have a Facebook page. It's called the Brooks Estate. It's in I forgot the name of the town, but it's in Missouri. It's just across the Kentucky line, not far at all. But it's like a two, not a huge house, just a 2-story, nice, quaint little home. But the amount of paranormal activity there is it's pretty amazing. It's the what he sent me in an email last night. He actually has in his home. He doesn't live there, but he has security cameras he can watch from his house. And something woke his wife up around 1 or 2 in the morning, and she thought somebody had broke in because it sounded like people were fighting and arguing. She could hear the audio from the security cameras. So he said he jumped out of bed and grabbed his gun and he ran down there thinking someone broke in. But when he got there, it was locked up. The security alarm was set. Nothing was out of place. Then he went and reviewed the footage, and that's what he sent me. It's just a camera from the outside. It's storming outside. You can see lightning and hear the rain, but you can hear clearly what sound like two people arguing and shouting. To make it even creepier, there is what sounds like an old news broadcast, what reminiscent of what you might would hear, what I think of something out of the '60s or '70s. And there's, I think, even like what sounds like a kid's voice, just all of it kind of, you know, consider one right after another, and it's wild. I don't know. I don't have any explanation for it.
Yeah, that sounds more of a residual energy.
Yeah, it could be, but I think this TikTok I covered this past summer. I can't remember what they call this ghost or spirit. They call him the cowboy or something, but he has pictures he caught on the security camera. This dude, he looks like he's straight out of the 1800s, got like a cowboy hat on, and they see him frequently around the property. And
That's really cool.
it was pretty interesting. So I hope we can. What our hopes are is because there's some more places on the eastern side of Kentucky, like in Virginia, West Virginia, that we could go to, or we can go to the western end, like Missouri, where that is. But where we both will work, and he's busy with the Mr. Beast stuff, we're gonna have to decide and map out a week road trip where we can hit up a few different places all in one trip because it's hard for us to get together as much as we'd like to.
Yeah, there's a lot of haunted places here in Knott County too, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, one of the more local, well, not local, but in Barberville in Knox County, a guy I'm friends with, I met him over TikTok. He's actually a paranormal investigator too, but he's been messaging me for over a year now. His dad's property. They got a small farm there in Barberville, just outside of Barberville, where they have had encounters with Bigfoot. They've seen Bigfoot. There's Indian graves on the property. They've heard like war cries and the drums, like Native Americans. All kinds of paranormal ghost activity, and he's invited us down and to investigate there. So that's definitely a place we may check out too.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the you don't really have to go outside the Appalachian Mountains. I mean, because there are a lot of crazy stuff, as you know. I mean, now again, some of it may not be anything, but there's just I've heard, I'm sure you have too, stories all my life, about ghosts and
Yeah,
Bigfoot.
I've seen stuff too, man.
Oh yeah, definitely, me too. And so, I mean, these mountains are very old with a lot of history. Some good stuff, some bad stuff, and I don't know. There's a lot here, and so that's something that Zach and we really, I mean, we want to be able to go all over if we choose to for different things. We want to do cryptids and paranormal ghost stuff, UFOs. But being born and raised right here in Knott County in the mountains, we have a soft spot for Appalachia. So we kind of really want to dive deep in Appalachia. Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, West Virginia, and see what we can uncover.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of stuff to cover, man. I mean, you got a lot of Bigfoot sightings, especially down there in North Carolina too, and Tennessee,
Oh yeah,
the
definitely.
Smoky Mountains area that borders Tennessee. I mean, that borders Tennessee and North Carolina.
Yeah, and that's honestly
Mm.
that's when my TikTok blew up when I first started because I love Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge.
It's
That's
beautiful.
it is. That's my family. It's our favorite place in the world to go to. Um, and so I just once I started TikTok, just because I enjoyed it so much, I started doing a lot of research. And I knew, Bigfoot was synonymous with the Smoky Mountains, and but once I started diving into it and actually researching it, and I started covering a lot of stories and things like that, that's when my TikTok account really blew up. Because so many, it's the number one visited national park in the United States. So you have a lot of people who, go there and watch TikToks and YouTubes about it. But dude, there's a lot of creepy stuff there in that those little towns. It's pretty interesting. And like you said, North Carolina, the North Carolina side of it, I do hear a lot of Bigfoot. And something that really caught my interest that I hadn't really heard a lot about until the last 6 or 8 months is feral people. I began to hear a lot of stories, especially out in the western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee. Like there have been so many feral people stories that people have told me. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. I watched I can't remember the show. Oh, there was one show that covered that, the Pharaoh people of Tennessee.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, I mean the Pharaoh people of Smoky Mountains. My bad. I
Yeah.
can't remember what that show was, but I watched it on HBO Max.
Well, I may have to try to check that out. Because, yeah, I had never, I mean, I had heard of feral people, but I'd never really looked into it or investigated or anything. But when I started digging into the Smokies, that's one of the first things that kept popping up. It was feral people. And then people started reaching out, telling me stories, especially in the Maggie Valley area, which was in the North Carolina side of the Smokies, and But even in right in the heart of Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Cates Cove, Wares Valley, I've even had at least two or three people send me stories out of that area of a Mothman type creature. Which Mothman is supposed to be in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. But what's kind of weird about it, the first lady who submitted this story about this creature, she was just a little girl when they seen it, probably 20 years ago or so. But she said it was only maybe like 3 foot high, which the one in Point Pleasant, was significantly bigger than that. But she described it the same way: the red eyes, the wings, kind of like a gargoyle or something that we would think of. But after her story, I had other people also reach out with similar experiences.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Might have been a small Mothman or something.
Could be. And you think about it, the National Park Services, the Smokies or any of them really, that's protected land. So you don't have an abundance of people just like you do on public land. So if feral people, Bigfoot, Dogman, Mothman exist, I can't think of a better place when you go to this protected land. I mean, I know you have a lot of people who go hiking and camping, but still you don't have an abundant like you would on public property.
Yeah. Actually, in Wolf County, man, there's sightings of a Wolfman type creature there.
Oh, really? For some reason, that does ring a bell, but I had totally forgotten all about that. I need to look that up
That'd
because
be interesting to study as well, or investigate it if you wanted to as well. You and Zach.
it really would. Yeah.
And it wouldn't be that bad a drive either.
Oh no. Well, we were there back in October. I think last time I was on was just what was it? Maybe the first part of October. It was just before Zach's wedding. Uh,
Yeah,
and he got married on the 12th. So we went down, we stayed in Red River Gorge where he got married, where I spent, Russ Acord from Expedition Bigfoot, he was there. We spent the weekend there together. And this past summer, he and Maria, Dr. Maria Mayer from Expedition Bigfoot, hosted a private Bigfoot, like kind of I don't know if it was like 2 or 3 day event where they camped out in the Red River Gorge and went hunting Bigfoot. So he was already pretty familiar with the area, and he said they had a really good investigation there.
Bear River Gorge is another place that's a hotbed for paranormal activity and
It is,
UFO sightings as well, even Bigfoot sightings.
yeah, yeah, and that's definitely a place we have kind of put on our list because it's not that far from where we live, and they're actually hosting in Stanton, which is right in the Gorge area, a Bigfoot festival this coming, I think in May maybe. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of reports and Bigfoot and all kinds of stuff. And to be honest, I had never really spent much time, and I still didn't really get to explore it much. But like that's such a beautiful place, the Gorge. The area I went to, it was absolutely beautiful, and it's kind of a remote type. I don't know, and I know this sounds kind of goofy, but it feels Bigfooty, if that makes sense. It just kind of
Watchland.
got that vibe to it. Like if Bigfoot is real, this is a place where he could be. So definitely a place on my list I want to go.
Yeah, they call it Squatchland.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's just the vibe that I got. Just even though we were there at that wedding, which it was kind of out in the country off to itself, but it was a beautiful, absolutely beautiful place, cabins and stuff. But it just had that, I don't know.
Eerie feeling,
Yeah,
like you're being watched.
right. Yeah. I
That
mean,
could be paranormal though, as
it
well.
could be. It
It
really
could be
could.
Bigfoot too. A lot of people think Bigfoot's connected with paranormal stuff though.
Right. Well, that's actually a theory I have also. Zach and I both share that. That's actually the premise of my whole TikTok account is my personal belief is I believe all these ghosts and things are actually demonic. That's my personal belief. I
I
think,
agree with that.
I think we've talked about that before. And when it comes to Bigfoot, I think that it's possible they could just be biological elusive creatures. I don't know. But then again, I believe these demonic forces can manifest in many different ways. A Bigfoot, or maybe there really are legit Bigfoots, but you also have these demons who still manifest as Bigfoot just to keep people engaged, to keep them coming.
I
They,
believe Bigfoot's an ape.
I mean, that's very possible. At the core, if the real legit Bigfoot could just be some mutated ape or just some variation or whatever of some kind of ape, that's very possible. And but that's just Zach and I are kind of like minded. We've always had a general interest in paranormal, be it Bigfoot or ghost. And so we just want to see what we can uncover. We've done a lot of investigations around here, which we've had a lot of success, but we kind of want to step outside the box a little bit and try some new places. See what's different about other locations as opposed to right here at home.
You should try Bardstown, man.
Bardstown, they got a lot of ghosts or stuff up there.
Yep, that's where Jesse James is supposed to be at.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Definitely.
stayed in the Jailer's Inn there. It's really haunted, man.
I was there at. Well, I
Yep,
definitely need to check that out.
caught a shower curtain moving by itself
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
on camera. Yep.
Well, I'll tell you one place that I've always wanted. I'm kind of a history buff too, kind of a big nerd, honestly. But I love history, and I've always been fascinated with like White Earp and Tombstone and yeah, Doc Holliday, that whole. And I'd love to go out to Tombstone. Zach and some guys actually went out there a few years ago, not ghost hunt. They were just on a road trip, but Tombstone is supposed to be like a paranormal mecca. You got the Birdcage Theater and just all those places right there. So much history, so much violence, over the years. It's definitely like a bucket list place for me.
Yeah, Ghost Hunter's been there.
Yeah,
Ghost Advent Ghost Adventures has too.
right. Yeah, I've watched all those, and I was actually doing a TikTok live a few nights ago, and there was a guy who he actually after the live was over submitted. He emailed me some pictures he had got. He actually said he lived there for I can't remember how long, maybe like close to a year or something. And he sent me some pictures from like the Birdcage Theater where he'd caught some stuff and told me some stories, and it was some creepy stuff. So that's definitely a place I would like to hopefully check out someday.
Yeah. Um, there's a place I cannot remember the name. There's a place in Nevada that's pretty haunted too. I just can't remember the name.
I know you got the Goldfield Hotel. I believe it's in Nevada.
Yeah, didn't Ghost Adventures go there? And
Yeah, yeah. A lot of
there,
the Ghost Adventures, Project Fear. I think Sam and Colby. A lot of those paranormal groups.
yeah, there was some like prostitute or something that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That's like the first Ghost Adventures episode, I think, maybe like pilot episode or something.
Well, they made, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but they made a kind of like a documentary before they actually got the show. And I believe it was at the Goldfield. There was actually like a brick that got through the air. Their first episode actually was in Kentucky at Bobby Mackey's.
Oh, Bobby Mackey's. That place ain't open no more. I don't think.
They tore it down just a few weeks ago, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that was supposed to be like insane, and but they did. I think they're supposed to rebuild it or build it somewhere else. But that was a place that like was high up on the list because they say that place was just phenomenal with like paranormal activity and stuff.
yeah. That's one of the places I refused to ghost hunt whenever I was ghost hunting.
Well, yeah, I might would have regretted it, but it just especially being from Kentucky, it's just like, oh, dude, I'd love to go there, but unfortunately, I never did. But I would love to go to Waverly, which was up around Louisville,
Yeah.
and it's still open.
There's a theater in Cynthiana that's really cool too. I ghost hunted that. It was
Or
very fun. Yeah.
is it like an open, like you can still watch movies there? Is it just like
Yeah, it's in downtown, Cynthiana. Yeah.
okay,
The guy's very nice.
yeah,
It's a
well,
it's a nice theater.
okay.
Yeah, we stayed all night there, rented it out.
That's cool. I'm gonna check that out.
It
One
was
place I was really wanting to go. And I had actually been in talks with the lady who was, I guess, like the curator of it, was Sweet Spring Sanitarium in West Virginia. Cindy Harper, I believe, was is the lady's name. She was actually on some of those ghost shows where they come investigate it. She was kind of the curator or something. But apparently, within the last couple 3 months, the owner of that property passed away. And I guess there's just a lot of things maybe in court. Like they pretty much stopped all investigations. Like right now, they're saying indefinitely. So I don't know if that'll ever open back up or not. That was like a bucket list place for me too. But unless something changes, I don't know that you get the opportunity to go there again. So we'll see, I guess.
I mean, you got a place in Knott County too, where Charles Manson was raised.
Yeah,
Not raised. He was kind of he grew up there a little bit.
right. Yeah, yeah. I think then his mom worked there. Was at the Blue Moon Cafe or
Yeah,
diner?
she was a prostitute there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I would. I've been by that place, but I've never actually stopped and got out and checked.
That
Invested.
place is a hotbed for activities. What I've heard.
Really. Well, that
Yeah,
would make sense. I mean, Charles Manson is pretty notorious. So yeah, that's and like you said, that's right in our hometown. So that's definitely worth checking out.
yeah, that'd be an easy one to do too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think
But
that
that.
property's for sale actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Um, but that's one thing which, to be honest, I haven't really reached out to anybody local, and I've heard over the years. I'm sure people will tell me who live here they've had paranormal experiences, but I don't know anyone who lives here who's actually like come to me. They've never like come to me and said, "Hey, my house is haunted. You want to come, check it out." I'm sure there are homes out there like that, but I've just never had anyone approach me and ask me that.
yeah, there definitely is a lot of places in this county that's haunted.
Oh, no doubt. I'm sure there are. But that's one thing, and I don't know why exactly, but when I started TikTok in April of 23, I guess. Like I never even told, other than my close friends, I never even told anybody I had TikTok. Like I didn't post it on my private Facebook page, not until this past maybe August, September. Like I just was like trying, I was like, well, a lot of people knew, they figured out that I had it, but I don't know. It just seems like some of the people closest to you are the ones who root against you the most, so it's like, I ain't even gonna bother telling people. If they find out, they find out. If they don't, whatever. But I did. I shared it on my Facebook page once or twice this past fall. But, pretty much everybody I've talked to has been supportive because, a lot of times when you talk about ghosts and Bigfoot and paranormal, people laugh. And if you've never experienced anything paranormal, I understand the criticism or you know, whatever. But, I think, but once you've experienced the paranormal, like it's very real. There's no mistaking it, and it's out there.
Definitely, man. Yeah, there's been a lot of people tell me experiences they've had in this county.
Right. Yeah, I would like for people, if you know anybody or whatever that has any haunted house or on the property it's haunted and they are interested in having it, investigated, reach out to me, Um, and also, again, like most people reach out through my TikTok and, like I said, we're unsure now. TikTok may have a week left or so, if that. So, I'm asking everybody, all my followers on TikTok, and for anybody listening, if TikTok does get shut down, I do have Instagram, YouTube, and X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and Facebook, the Supernatural Sleuth account. So you can follow me on any of those platforms. YouTube is the one I'm really going to try to push the most. That's kind of like been my goal since I even started TikTok. So, if TikTok does shut down, even if TikTok doesn't shut down, I'm going to be going doing a lot more stuff on YouTube. But I've been encouraging people if they, don't care to follow me on those platforms also.
You should try TikTok Live and YouTube Live and stuff.
Well, I've been doing quite a bit of TikTok live, right? Not a lot, but more than I typically do, and I've actually had pretty good success. Zach actually co-hosted a live session with me a few weeks ago, and we had several thousand people watching us and stuff, and had a lot of back. I think we've done it for almost 3 hours. We actually had some people that was watching. Like I invited them to join and tell their ghost story, and paranormal experiences, and it was a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I really enjoyed that. It's just, as you know, it's just so hard, between work and family and other obligations. It's hard to find time to do all the things you like to do.
Definitely, man. I used
You
to
know,
do this every day.
no, yeah, and like even posting a minute 30-second TikTok, you know, 90 seconds, think there's more that goes into that 90-second video that what most people realize.
Yeah, you got to come up with the idea.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even if it's just me like this right here, a talking head sitting here talking, like you got to do the research, you got to kind of formulate a video, set it up how you want it, and then you got to edit, which honestly, editing is the longest part. It doesn't take long for me to film it to tell the story, but to get it set up how I want it, and then post production, do the editing and all that. I mean, there's more that goes into it than what you realize.
Definitely, man.
It's just tough juggling everything, all, life's chores and social media, every day. It's tough.
So, paranormal is your favorite topic?
Well, my main goal through what I do, and I tell people this on my TikToks all the time, is to share Jesus Christ. That's like my ultimate goal. I feel I have an obligation, and it's kind of like a calling for me. Like the Lord laid it on my heart to, so many people I feel like are being deceived like by these demonic forces. I see them on TV, and I'm sure you have also, where they invite these spirits to use their energy. They think they're like a past relative or someone famous, and I feel like it's truly demonic. And I feel like it's almost like a calling to me to share what I feel like is biblical truth. But more than anything, all that aside, all the ghost hunting, Bigfoot stuff aside, is I try to encourage people, if they don't know Jesus Christ, that they should call upon Him, and if they don't know Him, they should reach out. That's the best decision I ever made, and I try to recommend to everybody that, if you don't have anywhere else to turn there. That's the key to it all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I believe all paranormal activity is demonic for sure.
Yeah. And like I said, and I was actually on the fence a long time about that as a Christian, because I think there are certain lines you don't cross, trying to communicate with these things and all that. And I almost deleted my TikTok just after I got monetized and was actually making pretty decent money. Like I didn't know how to go forward. And I prayed and prayed and prayed. And, I talked to, well, Josh, your cousin, is a pastor, and talked to him about it. And it went several months before one day, just like the Lord revealed it to me, just kind of put it on my heart. He's like, do what you're doing, but tell them the truth. I want you to tell them the truth. Tell them about me. Tell them about my son. You've got a platform. I've now got almost 300,000 followers. What better way to be able to share the gospel? I mean, and paranormal, I like all things spooky. I've always loved scary movies. I love ghost stories, Bigfoot stories. I just find it interesting. But it goes a little bit deeper than that. With me, I feel like I have an obligation to share what I believe biblical truth. I see a lot of people who I think are misled and, potentially opening themselves up for some dark stuff to, attach to them maybe.
Yeah, that's actually why I quit ghost hunting, man.
Yeah, oh, I get it 100%. And like I said, that's why I was on the fence for quite a while, because I didn't know if I should. But now, like I said, there's still certain lines that I'm not going to cross. I almost go into it more as an observation. And Zach and I had we've been talking about this for years. And I don't know what we will call our YouTube channel, but our name we came up with 2 or 3 years ago was like the root of all evil. Like we set out to prove that all of this stuff, Bigfoot, whatever, ghost, dogman, at the root of it all, it's evil. And that was kind of our goal. Is to shed light on what we believe to be biblical truths. So,
Yeah, man, supernatural stuff is definitely very cool, but
yeah,
you're right. There's a line that you
yeah,
can't cross really.
yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to be very careful. I mean, I think the majority of people who are like ghost hunting, or it's just kind of a cheap thrill. You go into a haunted house with your friends and you hear a couple noises, you get scared and run out, and that's about the end of it. I think for most people that's where it lives and dies, in that area. But and it's hard to explain. And I've had, many of my followers ask me the same question. And I know it's weird, when I try to explain it to people, but it almost feels like a calling to me, not just a hobby or a passion, but a calling. But I feel like I say, like it felt like the Lord told me, like you do it, you know what lines you don't cross, you know what, as far as that goes. But I want you to tell the truth. People are being manipulated, they're being deceived. The devil is a liar and the father of it. Tell the people the truth. Tell them about my son. And so if I don't do anything else across any of my social media platforms, if I want to tell them about a man named Jesus. Forget the ghost stuff, the Bigfoot stuff, everything else, because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. And so that's my ultimate goal.
Has anybody got saved? Uh, Watching your
Well, I don't know if I've had any get saved, but I've had a lot of people, well, quite a few people. It's weird saying this because it sounds foolish when I say it out loud, but I was recently into an argument on TikTok with a bunch of witches, you know, because I'd done something about witchcraft and I had all these self proclaimed witches who got on there, oh, you're a hypocrite, you don't know this and that. And I would just, you know, quote scripture, tell them, here's what the Bible says about it. It's not me judging you, I'm not judging you. Here's what God says about witchcraft. Well, I love God and can be a witch at the same time. I said, well, I'm not saying whether you love God or not. I'm telling you, here's what God says about witchcraft. You may think it's just all about whatever, but here, look at this verse. This is what he thinks about witchcraft. And I think I have really opened the eyes of a lot of people. And I have had people tell me that I have shared messages, about scripture and Jesus, who said it has really helped them. So, if I don't accomplish anything else, I'm glad I accomplished that. It was all worth it. Like I said, forget all the ghost stuff, the being monetized and all that. My ultimate goal at the end of the day is telling people about Jesus. That's at the core of it.
yeah, that's definitely cool,
Yeah, I mean, I've been very blessed. I've been able to make money from TikTok and social media, which has helped me. It's been a blessing to me and my family. But, I never dreamed, I'm not the type of person most of my life who would get in front of a camera and talk. I didn't like being on camera. I still don't like being on camera. I don't like hearing myself on camera, but, I just felt like, God opened doors for me that He wanted me to go through. And I've been very blessed by doing that. And
definitely.
it's kind of like one of them things, like you just kind of know, like you're like at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. Like it all felt right to me, like because I prayed for years because I felt like there was something more I should be doing. I didn't know what it was until this kind of all happened within the last year and a half, and I've kind of got to share two of my greatest passions. First one being Jesus, and then paranormal. It's kind of like oil and water. You think they don't mix, but at the same time they do because they're kind of one and the same. Once you realize what this stuff really is.
Yeah. Have you done any paranormal investigations here in Knox County before?
I've done a lot over at the college, over the years. Well, dude, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many hundreds, I'm sure. We actually done a small one probably about a month ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Um, but it was very uneventful. It wasn't. It was about 4 or 5 me and 4 or 5 of my buddies I work with, and I had some of my equipment. We're big into playing laser tag. Like we go over there at night, we got some laser tags through the buildings, and we go crazy for a couple hours, and then we decide we want to ghost hunt. And I started to do it on a TikTok live, but I'm actually kind of glad I didn't because like nothing. And it was usually one of the places that was kind of like a hot spot for activity. But I think the EMF meter may have went off once or twice, but I had REM pods out, spirit boxes, motion sensors,
Yeah,
music.
I used to have one of them. Well, I mean, I still do. I just don't use
Right.
it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got a small fortune in ghost hunting stuff. I've got a thermal camera, and nothing. That night we had absolutely nothing. It wasn't even a
Yeah.
creepy feeling. So
Isn't there supposed to be like a female spirit over there?
I've heard several people who have encountered female spirits in different buildings. The
I've
same building.
I I've heard on who it was. I'll ask you that off camera though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never heard like a name of who it is. I know one of the spirits that actually was first seen that I know about, like in the early 1980s, was a young woman who looked like she come straight out of the 70s, like the hippie, like the bell bottoms, the what you think a hippie would look like, a young girl out of the 1970s. And she's been spotted in the science building at least 2 or 3 different occasions. One of the girls' dorms, they've seen her, and just kind of out on campus. And I have seen glimpses of a woman like that. So there's at least her and dude, I don't know. Honestly, I've had so many different experiences myself, and along with the ones other people have told me, that I could literally write a book. That being said, I actually am writing a book. I'll go ahead and announce that. I've been working on it now for quite a while. Well, not a long while, but a little while. Where the topic of my book is the working name of it is called The Paranormal Deception, where I explain what I believed, what these things are. But just on like the college itself, though, I could write a separate book on stuff that I've encountered there and then the 25 years I've been there.
Yeah. Maybe we can do a paranormal investigation sometime there, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just hit me up. We'll see what we can come up with. Like I said, I don't know what the deal was. A few weeks ago it was nothing. But you may go back tomorrow night and it's crazy. But that's the first one I had done there, and probably, oh dude, maybe a couple years or longer, maybe longer than that.
Yeah. And it's untelling how many spirits is there for real.
Oh yeah, it's wild, dude. That place, it's small. It's very small, but um, it's definitely got some stuff going on for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm excited about your book though for sure.
Yeah, it's I haven't really told many people about it because it's still a work in progress. I don't know how long it'll take me to finish. I've got a pretty good majority of it done, but I've always loved writing, even as a kid. Like I'm terrible at math. I can't tell you 2 plus 2, but like writing, it always just came natural to me. And so I've always wanted to write something, and I've just kind of had it on my heart for a while. And I finally sit down some time back and started working on it, and it just kind of started coming out. Which, like I said, there's still quite a bit to do, but when I get it done, I'll shoot you a copy of it for sure.
Definitely, bro. I appreciate that. And we can possibly, well, not possibly, we'll for sure talk about stories in that book and
Oh,
talk about
definitely.
it on a podcast for sure.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It'd be great.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you being on, brother.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate you having me. And just anytime, man, just holler at me.
Definitely, man. Appreciate the supernatural sleuth for being on. Everybody have a good night and God bless.
God bless.